So welcome to the webinar, and let me introduce our presenter today, Dave Ramos. Dave is a USPTA P1 professional with 20 years of diverse professional experience, and he's currently the manager of coaching education and performance at the USTA Player Development National Training Center in beautiful Boca Raton, Florida. In this role, his primary responsibilities are implementing strategic initiatives of player development, including projects for the Department of Coaching Education, Sports Science, and Talent Development. So very diverse responsibilities here. He closely works with the USTA National Coaches and Training Center students to provide training and video analysis for technique and tactics. And I just want to thank you for your time, Dave. Warren Pretorius was supposed to be joining us, but he called me and said he's in Canada and working with the Davis Cup there, and they're out of internet. So hopefully he'll join us before the end. But he definitely wanted to express his appreciation for how you have collaborated with us over the years and how you two just work to make each other better. Wanted to express that to you. Okay? Show your screen and show us what all you've been doing there.
Fantastic. Well, Deb, thank you so much for inviting me to speak on the webinar. I don't know, I've probably been a part of maybe 10 different webinars during the course of the last few years, listening in, and I think this is probably the second one that I've presented on what we do here at Player Development, and it's pretty exciting. I always try to set the stage with just a little bit of information of history in terms of when Dartfish got started with player development. I have been here since 2000, in December of 2002, when I was at Ferris State University. In fact, I was teaching using the same Dartfish Dart Trainer Pro Suite when Nick Saviano was the director of coaching. We got started using Dartfish, and they used it for player development internally. Started doing all types of technique analysis. One of the big steps after that was 2007, and I know Warren Pretorius worked hard with time to develop this player development digital library. It was such a huge undertaking. You know, it's still out there right now. If you Google search player development digital library, you'll be able to come up with these clips, and each one of them has a media book. In 2008, we really got started with our Dartfish TV channel, and that was pretty much me and Warren from the ground up. You know, we really didn't have anybody else in the whole organization publishing for the channel. Then in 2010, we signed a master service agreement basically supplying all of our national coaches and any national staff with the software on their computers, and also a number of Dartfish TV channels, specific channels. And lastly, in 2012, TV app that connects directly to our Dartfish TV channel, so you wouldn't have to use the web browser, and there's a lot of enhanced features like key positions and drawing tools that you can see by using the USTA.TV app. Jump into a little bit of how we used it. So one is your typical technical analysis, whether it's within the software or by using Dartfish Express. We're constantly evaluating the technique of the players here. And really, Dartfish TV started by using video at the regional training center camps. We have about 17 regional training centers around the country. We were running camps, and we wanted to be able to communicate with players about their technique. USTA player library.
And it was big technology by the time this was developed. I remember Scott Rewald was in on that.
Yeah, Scott Rewald helped. Yeah. And when it came out, it was really, it drove a ton of traffic to our website. We've been taking lots of video, getting it all processed, and figuring out new ways. And basically, Dartfish TV is how we will deliver this new video. So here's an example of Mitchell Kruger. We talked about the high elbow. You can see the position there. One of the coaches was concerned about it. He said, can you come out and take some video and compare his loading position with this one Martin Del Potro. Here he is against Djokovic, who's probably a little bit low with the elbow. Here he is against Federer, and now we've zoomed into the upper body, and it was pretty clear for him to see what we're talking about when we're talking about. And now we measure the angle of his elbow to his shoulder, and we do the same thing with Thomas Berdych, and it's pretty powerful. So this is an example of a simple technical analysis, and sometimes we have attachments that I'll include. So if the player wants to download a single picture, they can just get the picture, and I think it was just of one of the key positions compared to Berdych. It was an overlay, I believe. Here it comes now. So there it is, kind of one overlaid on top of the other, and you can see, hey, here's your shoulder, and there's where Burditch is. So we try to give the players as many visual aids as possible, because players can be a little stubborn at times, and this is one of the best ways to convince them. In terms of tactical analysis, the coach told me this was on YouTube. I went and grabbed it on YouTube, and I just was looking it over, and it was pretty clear to me that every time she split stepped, I was going to just put a box around the feet, and I could see that no matter where she hit the ball, each time I'm advancing to a new key position, regardless of her shot selection, she was pretty much recovering 4 to 5 to 6 feet behind the baseline. So if I was to play this back, I'll go back to the end. So basically I surrounded her feet for 2 or 3 points and then showed her the groups. Then I did the same thing for her opponent, and I showed that her opponent's court position was much closer to the baseline in general, even though she won this match very easily. And I'll take it to the end and just allow it to play. Definitely a little bit closer to that one. So in general, if you're able to have a regular neutral position, maybe somewhere in this zone altogether, you're going to have a whole lot better of a chance to be able to get up into the court, as we talked about, and that you were doing a drill. So the coach asked me to come out and take some video of the player practicing and hitting balls on the rise and stepping inside the court. And I said, well, it would be a lot better if I saw her play and I knew why she wasn't stepping inside the court. And it was pretty clear because her court position was so deep she couldn't, get inside the court to take the ball on the rise because she was not really responding to the balls that she was producing. So this was really helpful for her. It was the first time she had ever seen video of herself. It was only basically a couple of games, and the analysis took about 5 minutes as opposed to spending 15, 20 minutes or having her watch a whole match. And so now she had a much better understanding of why she wasn't getting into the court, taking the ball on the rise.
Definitely better understanding, better visual, and much more efficient for both of you.
Just the idea of an overhead squat, again, same kind of thing. We can upload these directly. This is from Rodney Marshall, one of our strength and conditioning coaches out in Carson, and he's in the gym and just doing overhead squats. And we have these for all different sorts of players. Here's Mr. Kozlov, one of our best 14-year-old players or 15-year-old players, doing an overhead squat with a wood bar. And just trying to do more with strength and conditioning now that the coaches don't need the software. We've even done a little bit of plyometric sessions. Players can basically, this is from our coaching staff to each other, where Gabrielle says, "Here's a quick idea about some plyometric specific sessions." Takes Dennis Kudla and Ryan Harrison through a plyometric session and shows some of their actions. And so we can just take a look real quick. Gives them a little specific warm up. Again, this is going to play back kind of choppy. Show some 1-foot hop over lines and just some quick examples of different sorts of plyometric drills that players can do. You can see that we're using all the features in Dartfish when we put the footage up here. We use voiceover, we're using the picture-in-picture, using some simple text over the screen as well. Management system, and who's ever here watching this particular webinar, this is probably the first time there's ever been any kind of public exposure of what the Fair Play AMS is, but basically in player development we have this online management system where every day that we have practices for players, that the coaches are going in and putting in an actual practice report as to what happened. They could be doing this as in a match evaluation that's actually accessible to the athletes by iPhone. So the player goes in and says who they played against, how they rate themselves, daily practice plans. We have daily practice plans that the coaches fill out as to what's going on a day-to-day practice, what the duration is, what type of drill it is, what the name of the drill is. This is all stuff that's developed within the last, basically since I've been here, since 2008. One of the great parts is that if you go to the home field, if I want to quickly find out what Dartfish videos have been published about any of the athletes recently, I can just look over here and it has In the last year, here are all the videos that we've published to Dartfish TV for various athletes. So if I want to see Jack Sock serve, I just go right here, and a window pops up, and magically it looks like we're looking at Dartfish TV, but it's happening within the AMS system. So we've been able to, this is actually an entire match of Jock Sack versus Somdev Devarman. We can also, it'll show his last 4 or 5 videos here, so we could just go to that serve video. So what's great is anytime we add new videos to Jack Sock's collection, those are going to continue to populate this area, and coaches don't have to log into Dartfish in order to see it.
So it's dynamically playlist embedded into this Fair Play site.
Exactly. So we're not only using Dartfish on the site itself, we're using it with the USTA.TV app that's free that people can use, and we're also embedding footage from Dartfish TV into our athlete management system as well as USTA.com, and I'll show an example of that in just a little bit.
Very good.
So that's player development, using it for strength and conditioning, for tactical analysis, for technique. We have all kinds of tag videos and tactics and that sort of stuff, but I wanted to try to keep it pretty brief. Coaching education is really an area that's expanding for us a ton, because people can't afford to travel nearly as much as they used to do face-to-face training. That web training is becoming more and more popular. Dartfish for us, if you've ever heard of the USTA teaching and coaching philosophy, Dartfish was a huge part of that. Jose Higueras became the director of coaching together with Patrick McEnroe. They were our leaders, and one of the first things they wanted to do was kind of align our national staff with a teaching and coaching philosophy, so that we had a similar language, we had similar use of drills, and when we talked about things such as taking ground or giving ground, we had to come up with a way to describe those sort of things. So we spent a lot of time looking at video, spent a ton of time tagging the Grand Slam finals of men and women, and going through and looking at whatever findings we had that would either confirm or deny the suspicions about the philosophy that we have. So if we're talking about how often are players taking the ball in the rise, and we look at every single shot that a player hit during the Grand Slam finals, and we're able to see how many balls they're taking behind the baseline or how often they're stepping in, at least we're making educated insights as to what's going on in the professional game. So really, the USTA philosophy, teaching and coaching philosophy, Dartfish is a big part of clarifying that for us, of communicating it to our coaches, of showing people what technique looks like. And I'm going to show you the teaching and coaching philosophy course that we've made, and some of the key elements in it that were made essentially with Dartfish and the key position technology. And then a little bit about what a national coaches meetings look like in October every year, and how we come up with the information that we're disseminating to the coaches, and what those meetings look like. And the next slide shows a little example of that. And then lastly, the high performance coaching program is basically our obligation to the USOC to try to supply national level or international level coaches with some of the same information that's part of our teaching and coaching philosophy. So we've definitely incorporated Dartfish into our course content. It's now part of the development plan assignment. So once they've gone through the 4-day course and they have to do a development plan on the player they're working with, they also have to do a technical analysis using Dartfish Express, and they get a tagging panel that we've made for them that's very simple. They have to tag one set, and I'll show those collections right now. So let's jump off to the web. And I'll start off with showing some of the information from the high performance coaching program. So the high performance coaching program happened back in May. During the course of those programs, we are doing lots of things. You can see here there's some videos in this collection. If we ask them to use EasyTag, I need to supply a tutorial that shows them exactly what they're supposed to do. So this tutorial walks them through, and it just talks about the simple tagging panel that we gave to them, which you can see there. It's just breaking the match into first and second serve points and whether or not they were won or lost. And the tutorial goes through that a little bit. So basically, step by step, going through the cameras, showing them a couple different cameras, how to change the format, how to watch the match and actually use the tagging panel that we supply them. Then we actually deliver some of the content that happened during the course of the program. This is not necessarily all video that's open to the public because many of these sessions have players in them that we didn't get to sign waivers. We can't post it all to public collections, but I will show some video from player development collection that is totally public that's very similar to this content. But just kind of giving you an idea, if you go through the high performance coaching program, we film all the presentations. We'll give you different tutorials that are specific to that particular program. So if you missed part of Mark's talk, or if you want to go back and review his exercises, it's all right there. Same thing with Sylvain Bouchard, and also with Tom Gullickson doing some teaching and training. So I'll go back, and so one way we communicate with the high performance coaching program is filming all the different sessions and doing some tutorials, and then the other way we work with content is actually getting them to submit some of this stuff.
So you teach them to use this simple easy tag?
And yeah, we supply the panel, which is usually the most difficult, and make it work for people in general. That panel is really easy because everything is just automatic. You just hit the buttons. There's no timing. It cuts it up. So once they go through the high performance coaching program, they have two assignments. One is to do a technical analysis, and the other one is to upload a set of match play. Or they actually send it to me, and we upload it for them because we have to connect the data. So here are some examples of technical analysis, and if they turn it in, they pass. I usually let folks know if I think they've done a great job or not. Blaine Sumter was a graduate of the professional tennis management program, and he did a very good job with this. So we're asking them not only to upload clips, but we want them to use drawing tools and use key positions. He's talking about the unit turn here and the use of the non-dominant hand, back leg loading, and the hip and shoulder rotation. The kid's fairly short, and he has problems handling balls above his shoulder, so he needs to work on his footwork to hit more balls between his waist and shoulder, and that was part of his development plan. Closing the racket face more frequently. Pretty good video, very easy to see, great light, and this was an example of one that was really well done. And so each person going through the course has to do a technical analysis, and then they also have to do match play analysis. And this is tough for many coaches. Depending on the level, they're just not used to hanging a video camera up on a fence mount. They may have to borrow one, or we had one coach actually take their phone and just hang it on the fence and use that, and it actually worked pretty good. Mm-hmm. Rob Black actually did an outstanding job in his analysis, and it usually starts with good video. So that's why I had to do a tutorial on showing the coaches, hey, what sort of settings should you use? Is it important to have a wide-angle lens? And what kind of mount can you get? And if you notice, as the timeline fills up here, if I go to details, here is all the tagged information for this particular match. So they actually tagged it. They send me the tags. They upload the video to U.S.T.A, and then we download the video, incorporate the tags, take a quick look at it, and then upload it and give it back to them. And what was probably 45 minutes is now down to 15 minutes. And they can download this match and get it back to their student. Definitely using it with the high performance coaching program, not only to deliver content that happens during the course of the course, but also as a project, whether it's technique or tactics, for them to just demonstrate that they were listening and to show their mastery of technology as a tennis coach. So I wanted to show an example of one of the slides that we used during our national coaches meetings. Last year I tagged the 8 Grand Slam finals with some help from students from the professional tennis management program, and went through those Grand Slam finals and found all different sorts of information. Some of it I presented at the ITF in Lyon last year, and this was just something that I kind of, as I was going through, discovered, there's about 6 ways to get to the net, and we added a 7th way, the drop and charge. But we started looking at what are the different ways to get to the net. And if we're looking at the very top players in the Grand Slams, how often are they getting to the net? And when they do, what were the highest winning percentages? What do those patterns look like? And then we would have a national coach meeting on attacking, and we'd go through the videos and take a look at everything, and then go on court and discuss what drills they're doing with the players. So it really added a whole lot to our national coach meetings. We were all talking the same language. When we say swing volley or no transition, everybody's seen some videos, and these would play back. But again, it's just an example of 2 or 3 of these. If you are on Facebook and you go to the Player Development Facebook channel, you'll see a video called 6 Ways to get to the net, and it will show you all these clips back to back with some. Take a look on Player Development Facebook for the 6 Ways to get to the net, and you'll actually see the video for this. A few more things on coaching education. We have our outward-facing Player Development Library. That's the public collection that I had mentioned to you. Some of the content that you see here on the screen is part of that Player Development Library. So the stroke library that we had up on USTA.com is also there. But here's an example on the left, Danny Blackman working with Jose Higueras when he talks about walking to the ball. If you've never heard that term, it's something they use in Spain that describes the appropriate spacing of the steps and efficient footwork. The middle picture at the top there is Jay Berger giving a presentation to the high-performance coaching program here at our headquarters and talking about live ball situations and certain types of drills that we use here at the training center. And over to the left, Francis Roig, who worked with Rafa Nadal for a long time. He's kind of his base coach. You'll see him on tour with him. From time to time, we'll send players to Spain to go to train with different coaches. And Jeff Russell, who is the manager of talent development department, was able to go to Spain and take some video of our players training there and posted that video. So we're sharing all kinds of great stuff out there, whether it's Jose, our staff, or coaches internationally that we come across with. The bottom 2 examples, one of them is a stroke motion that I made that will be part of this new library in 2014 that will come out that will show all different types of stroke motions. The quality of the video is much better. That's on our outward-facing channel, as well as our regional training center webinars. Jeff basically has gone through and enlisted some of the top people in the industry, like Ann Pankhurst and Larry Lauer, who's a mental skills specialist, and does a webinar once a month on the middle, I think it's like the second Wednesday of each month, and we post that to the channel afterwards. So I'll jump off here and show you what that content looks like if we go into our Player Development Library. So here's a brand new video, the Dartfish Express video that I borrowed from YouTube. But I went in there and actually put some key positions in it so that I could give this to our coaching staff who are wondering how to use the video. And those of you who are not aware that anytime a video has these key positions in it, if you go over to this print tab, then you're able to print out all those key positions with any text. So I usually go into a video that has great information. I just regurgitate whatever information is in the video and then try to put some key text there very quickly so that I can send this off to somebody who needs to use this app as part of their assignment.
Great.
Here are some of the other videos from Barcelona, Francis Roig, Jose Higueras. This is the pathway to mental toughness and you can see this video from Jose Higueras was put up the 19th of July, and it's already got more than 1,200 hits. So, it's quite a few people seeing these videos, and if you have the USTA.TV app that's free, you can get all this content without any subscription. We had Greg Jacobs from Sports Board. We had Ann Pankhurst. We've had a number of different guest speakers. So if you're interested in just general tennis information, whether it's strength and conditioning from Satoshi Ochi, here's my presentation at the ITA Coaches Convention on tagging and the information that I was able to generate by doing the men's final in 2011. So lots of great information. If you're interested, check out USTA's channel on player development, USTA's channel on Dartfish TV, or download the free USTA.TV app, and you'll be able to see this information as well. So another example of how we use video in coaching education, which is really a critical part of us growing the base of tennis, is the 10 and under tennis competencies. And so that was a project that we started off with. We wanted to try to identify with people that if you have a player who is 6 or 7 years old and they're learning to play on the red court, when is it that they're ready to move up to orange? And if they're on orange, what skills should they be working on developing that's different from red? and when are they ready to go up to green. And of course, these are not hard and fast rules. They're more like suggestions of what the player should be able to do in terms of competencies in order to progress from one level to the next. And it's really a difficult thing for pros and or for parents to know. So it was a big, huge project. Once we got the video edited, I was adamant that the way we should be communicating these competencies was via Dartfish TV because of the key position technology, because of the PDF ability to print out, just like I had just shown. You know, there's nobody else in the organization within USTA that's using Dartfish TV to deliver content. They'll use YouTube, they'll use all different sorts of sites. And so this is really the first time that we've ever had video from another outside entity embedded on USTA.tv, and it worked out pretty well. So I'll show you an example. Oh, I forgot about the player development teaching and training methods, but this is just another example of content that is public, that if you're interested in drills for different levels of players, that is, we'll show you about 2-on-1s or forehand volley, backhand volley progressions, racket speed drills, really interesting information. It's all short and sweet. None of the videos are longer than about 4 minutes at most.
Yeah, that's good. And your advantage here is you have that keyword navigation and your printable teaching techniques.
Yeah, you can, if you're over here and you want to go, okay, I'm only dealing with level 3 players, let me just check that off, and you'll get just the videos for them. If you have, level 2, level 3, that's going to be the majority of the drills are available for multiple levels. Let's say you were just interested in the forehand, you can pick that, and now just those videos are going to show up. That's a great point that you made there, Deb. So 10 and under tennis competencies. Here it is on the USTA's webpage. So here's what the 10 and under tennis competencies look like. I actually created this web page, and you'll see it will start to play a video. Three formats are the 36-foot court with red balls for 8 and under players, the 60-foot court with orange balls. So you get the idea there. It tells you a little bit about the background. If you go to the next key position, there's actually a tutorial. And that basically just tells you how to navigate through these different levels. So I'll just click on one and show you what it shows up like. So if I click on red, now it will take us to, again, a dynamic playlist. So here are all the videos for red. So you don't have to go to Dartfish TV. You can see it right on USTA.com. Again, if you click on the print button, all the information in terms of grip, racket head preparation, size of the backswing, contact. We use a picture-in-picture to show the follow-through, and a summary for this particular drill if you wanted to print those off. And you can put them all on one page by just clicking on choosing a certain layout. So really a powerful way for us to take video from Dartfish TV, embed it into our own site, and deliver it to folks that we've never done before. So it was pretty exciting.
Well, let me ask you one more thing before
Sure.
you leave this. Not all of this audience can program HTML on a page, but explain that dynamic feature of the playlist once you've embedded it.
And I will tell you that I am by no means an IT person. Okay, basically, within Dartfish, I can just go back. If I go to playlists, I can, let's say from that particular video, these have, all right, so here's an example. Let's say I'm looking for, I want to embed videos of strength and conditioning, and I want them to be of an overhead squat. So if I choose that and put an X, basically all the videos that have overhead squat are going to show up here from the channel. And then I can just call it, overhead squat. I'll just put overhead and create a playlist. And now here comes the code right here. So I would just copy this code. Of course, it tells me I have to use Control-C. And then I just went off to a page that hosts the information for our USTA website and pasted that HTML code into the site, and that magically appears. Some of the difficulty would be changing little tiny bits of what is in this code in order to get it to look exactly like we wanted. But the great thing is, anytime I add a video in that has the that keyword that I put in overhead squat, it would magically appear on that site without having to do anything. So that's what you're talking about. Anytime I use the word overhead in a new video and I put it in any collection on the channel, it will automatically appear on the site that we embed it to. So you don't have to learn, you don't have to know a whole lot, you don't have to know why it works, but you just have to know what the critical pieces are of the code in order to make it play and look in a certain format. So I was pretty surprised that I was able to get that done, but it was a huge accomplishment, something that really helped us to do more with Dartfish video than just have it on the site itself. All right, last but not least, future projects. One of the things that we're really excited about is a partnership with the International Tennis Federation. Well, one of the best parts of my job is twice a year I spend about 10 days out in Indian Wells with my good friend Andy Fitzell and Juan Pretorius, taking video and taking pictures at the Indian Wells tournament. And then I do the same thing for about 2 weeks at the U.S. Open. The ITF approached us and said, we'd love to be able to form a partnership with you where you would allow us to license us, the video from the U.S. Open that you're taking with your handheld cameras. We would give you the expertise of the world's renowned biomechanists and tennis experts to analyze that video, and then it will wind up in two places, wherever we want it to be, like USTA.com or Dartfish TV, and then the ITF is going to use that analysis and video on their iCoach website. So this is a partnership. It's a multi-year deal that we just signed this year, and it's going to last for at least 3 years, probably moving into 3 to 5 years or so. And it's all going to be happening around Dartfish technology. So without our ability to use Dartfish to break up technique into single clips and share it in a way that's very powerful, they're going to be using Dartfish technology to break down videos into key positions and using drawing tools and zoom and all sorts of functions like slow motion. It's really going to be an interesting project that I'm looking forward to. So Warren's been a big part of making that happen. Merlin van der Brem was the representative from the ITF that contacted me, and I went to our legal department and said this is something that we have to make happen. We've supported iCoach for a number of years in order to get subscriptions for coaches around the country, and now this is another way that we can bring value to the ITF and also add to our library of information, lessons, and high-performance coaching program and player development in general. So really excited about this, and you'll be seeing information within probably the beginning of 2014, some new stuff coming out.
Some great creative uses, and I appreciate you sharing what all you've done.
My pleasure. It's been fun, getting to use Dartfish on a day-to-day basis because I felt like it was really a strength, and I'm privileged to have the job that I have and work with the people I do. So really enjoy it.